every day. There are just some days that, you feel that you're not able to effectively teach the kids,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is good because you can reflect. The best thing there is you reflect, and then based on your reflection, you don't tend to repeat the same, error or mistakes in the future. It's okay. Teaching is a lifelong learning anyway. Okay, so let's start with the good points or the commendation. So you started with you started with the lesson by greeting them good morning. So that is like a good way to call their attention, something like that, and to at least teach them that saying good morning is a nice way to start the day or start the lesson. You started with the question wherein you asked them what they know about evolution. So that is actually like gauging, how many of the students know about evolution. And that is also a good way to gauge if there are some misconceptions that needs to be addressed. Yeah. And let's move on to the next good points. So you yourself were able to see when students are losing it or losing their focus. And so what you do is, I think you clap your hands. Did you clap your hands a while ago, or did you? Okay, yes. So that would be a good gesture to bring them back. Okay, call their attention one more time, and it's like you ask them like, "Are you still there? Are you still with me?" And so that's a good way of gauging if they are still like focused enough. So that's one good point. And you did give a good overview so that more or less they know what the chapter is all about. That way they have like a general view of what the lesson would be, what the lesson will be. Okay, so that's another one. I noticed that at first you were not able to acknowledge their effort in participating, like saying thank you for your answer. I appreciate your answer, something like that. But then towards the end, I can see that you started like excellent answer, very good. So keep on doing that. I want you to be more consistent with that. Yeah, because kids sometimes it's an effort for them to answer or to participate, and so we just want to assure them that we appreciate their effort, so they will be more motivated next time to keep on participating, something like that.
Absolutely
right. It's also good when you ask them about Charles Darwin, what they know about Charles Darwin, rather than just like blurting out all the information for them for them. So it's good that you process that, because most of them do read in advance.
Yeah.
And so in their textbook we have a very good introduction for Charles Darwin.
And also we gave them like a pre-unit reading packet.
Yes, and yesterday you gave them like pre-reading packet about Charles Darwin and Lamarck, so that's a good one as well. I like the activity that you gave when you emphasize on variation. So you reinforce the idea or the key concept variation by asking them to compare their arm length, and so they were able to to get the main idea of what variation is. And I saw that they become they became more engaged during the time when they were comparing their arm length. So it's always nice actually to make the kids do something, because that would more or less like make the make them more interested because it's applicable to them.
Right.
Something like that.
Absolutely right.
Mhm. And then you also like showed a video clip towards the end, and so that's a nice way of wrapping up the concepts that you discuss with them. So it's always nice to show them a video clip because there are like learners who are visual learners. So that's a good one. And then the last one that you gave them after you have processed, and you processed the video. So that's a good one. We just don't show a video clip and then forget about it. So I like it that you process it with them. You wrap it up with them. Yeah. And then towards the end, you have an exit ticket, or you have downtime activity. You can call it as a downtime activity, wherein they applied, the concept of natural selection by Charles Darwin by sequencing those diagrams. And so that's a good one. So I guess you have many good, you have, a lot of commendations. Okay.
Thank you so much for making me. I was almost dead.
I know we feel that way sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's okay. Now let's go to the recommendations.
Okay.
So
Sure.
you'll be a great teacher. Okay.
I'm so humbled. Thank you for
Okay.
cheering me up. Actually, you are trying to cheer me up.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I'm not very good at organizing as well. Okay, so first thing, we talk about evolution, and then it's some kind of history. It's some kind of a story, something like that. So my observation, like you relayed information to them. For me, it's like, because it's an easy topic, because it's an introduction.
Yes.
So you should have come up with a way to make them talk more, because they had a pre-reading packet. Yeah.
Yes.
So you should just ask question after the other leading questions that would cover the key concepts for natural selection, and make them like talk to each other more. Yeah, that's why you felt, I think, that you're not successful, because you felt that you've been talking more,
Exactly.
rather than the students doing more.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, as a starter, when we start, like me, when I started, it's like I feel that, it should all come from me. I should like tell them everything, something like that. We're forgetting that kids are also like capable of, of processing it by themselves, and like when they talk with each other in their group, the more that they learn. I always believe that students will always like understand more if they talk with each other, rather than trying to understand what the teacher is talking about.
They get tired of teacher talking.
Exactly. And I usually ask the question like, and you see how I do it. If there's somebody who is asking a question, I always like throw it back. Who can help him in that question? So I don't tend to like answer, because I know many of the classmates, many of their classmates have know the answer to that. So why not make them share it?
Absolutely right. I will definitely do that next time. Yeah. Instead of answering by myself,
Exactly.
I will just persuade them to.
Exactly. And that's one way to gauge too, if many of them know it. And then if nobody really like would want to answer the question thrown by one of their classmates, that means to say, maybe they did not get this. And right there you can address the problem.
Right.
Yeah, something like
Absolutely
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or sometimes you can also like ask, give the question like this, like, who can explain it better than me? Because students are very good in explaining it to their classmates, because they do it in very simple terms, and most of their group mates will be able to understand it.
Right.
Yeah. So those are just like some good tips. Rather than you answering, you just like, okay, who can help me with that question?
Absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. So something like that. That's why I know you did not feel very well because you felt that you've been like talking a lot.
Yeah.
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 So maybe next time is that because they can come up with a story like this, so you can actually like give them a reading material, and then you can make them like simulate or act out the story, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. So you can do that. Like for example, there are 4 concepts. You can group them into 4 groups. One group would be like simulating or role playing variation. One would be doing competition. Another would be doing changing the environment, and the last one would be reproduction. And they just like present it to each other. That way, it's like you're just facilitating and you're not like blurting information.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes it's it takes like a lot of time and effort, but you can gain that through experience. Yeah. So I can understand why you felt that way a while ago. Okay. Next one. When you throw questions, you have thrown a lot of questions, but make sure that you should ask the question one at a time and not like one question after the other.
Right.
Yes. Okay. These are like grade 7 students. So it is like if you give them questions, 3 questions at a time, although they are all connected with each other, they will be like some kind of loss. Like, what is she really asking? So just ask one question at a time, and then wait for them to process the question. Okay. And that's a time when you ask them to like share what they think. Okay. So wait time, and then one question at a time.
Right. Okay. Great. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are just like some recommendation. Hold on.